Hey, look at that. I am live. Hey, everybody. Now it's a party. All right, let's see who we've got chatting so far. Get my messages set to all. Laura, how are you been? I missed you. I haven't seen you in a while. Fruit Loops to you, Judge Dredd. Christopher. Woot, woot. Art Knight, hello. All right, we're going to get right into it. I have already partially fed the goldfish this evening because I put a bunch of duckweed from Gilgalad's tank in there. I almost scooped up Gilgalad by accident. I didn't realize he was lying on the top of the water. So let me throw some more food in there, and then we're even going to throw some more duckweed in there once we get around to my other tank. I'm more concerned about making sure the other fish in the tank now get food because of the goldfish will eat the duckweed. And while I wouldn't want them living on a consistency, diet of duckweed, it's certainly enough for dinner for one night. However, my other fish in there don't eat duckweed, and so they still need food. I could put the regular tropical stuff in there, but then the goldfish will still eat that anyway, and then I'd be feeding my goldfish, too high a protein food. So we're sticking with the pond food. And in just a few minutes, I'll be straining that out. I know that looks delicious, doesn't it? Looks like the garbage compactor scene from Star Wars. But that is mushroom tea. That is what it should look like. It should be clear with a little bit of sort of cloudy color to it. You shouldn't have any of that blue color I got before. So this batch was done correctly, and I'm going to use that to fortify what I drank about an hour ago. So I'm already on mushrooms, and as the evening progresses, we'll bump that up a little bit. Hey, Christopher closed on your house. Nice. That's always a momentous occasion. You get to sign your name 1,600 times in about a 4-hour period while you're sitting in there doing it. It's always fun. Are you done with your early morning gig there, Laura? Steve! I don't listen to Lauryn Hill's music, but I've known about Lauryn Hill since the early 90s, late 80s. Oh, I can imagine having allergies at harvest time might be a little bit challenging. The only thing I have left to do in here tonight, I've actually been working for the last 2 hours in here. Didn't want to be trying to do all that stuff while I was on mushrooms, and so I did it before I was on mushrooms. We did a big water change on the 125, the other 125. I actually used a razor blade on the glass this time. I got that all cleaned up, and the glass looks beautiful. Did a big water change. I Windexed to the outside of the tank, and I even took a little bristle brush and I went through all the little gaps in my power head, and I cleaned out the power head and got that all running. So that tank's done. I did a big water change on my little shrimp tank. You can actually see into it now. The water's still a little cloudy, but you can see into it. And then what else did I do? Oh, I wiped down the glass on the goldfish tank, and I finally cleaned out the sponge filter on the goldfish tank, and then I made sure all the other tanks were topped off. So that's all the work I've done, and that's all the work I plan on doing, with the possible exception of swapping out the filters in this tank while we're over here. So I think we can probably go ahead and do that. But let's get everybody fed first. And hopefully Shamu will be joining us at some point. I was just chatting with him a few minutes ago. I told him I was going live in 5 minutes, and he said, oh, yeah, as though he had forgotten. And so I don't know if he's already got plans or he's out and about for the evening. But hopefully Shamu will join us soon. Wednesday's still back here hiding behind the hiding underneath the Anubias in the back. But presumably once she smells the food in the tank, she'll get out and start making her way about. There she goes. She's awake now. And in addition to the flakes, I'm going to throw some of their sinking pellets in there as well. Oh, she looks so sleepy-eyed. What happened to the other goldfish? I'm not sure what other goldfish you're talking about. Oh, you were talking about Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday was back there hiding behind her little leaf. I don't know if they do it for shelter or if they do it to prevent the current in the tank. You can see there's not a ton of current in that tank. But whenever they're asleep, they always get down underneath of the Anubias, and then they sort of wedge themselves into the Anubias like they're like securing their position or something, the way otters, hold each other's hands so they don't drift apart when they're sleeping. So I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know if it's a sleeping thing and they don't want to get wafted away, or if it's just something else. They just, the way I sleep, whether I'm cold or not, I still put a blanket over me. It just gives you that sense of security of feeling like you're under something, So that's what I assume they're doing, one or the other. Hey, TK, how are you this evening? I don't know what the weather's going to look like on Monday, but I've got to get everybody done at the beginning of the week. My customers, so I'll be down the Catonsville way this coming week. I wish I had paid more attention to the damn calendar because it's already the 24th or 25th or something. So I should have gone out spraying today and possibly even yesterday to get that last week of the month done. And now what is Monday going to be, like the 27th or something? So I'm going to have to get everybody done by like Wednesday. Or I guess this is October. I got till the 31st, so I get an extra day this month. And it's perfect when I go out spraying on Halloween because all my customers' houses really, really smell the part when the trick-or-treaters start showing up later. And it smells like it just smells like an Italian restaurant. It smells like garlic. It's funny. When I'm spraying my repellent, if someone someone walks out of their house or something and they don't see that I'm spraying, they just walk out and they're talking to somebody, they'll stop and they'll sniff. And their immediate reaction is like, oh, man, who's grilling? Oh, that smells good. I wonder what they're cooking. Because my repellent has all, grocery style ingredients. It's cloves and garlic and pepper and eggs. And when you're smelling that, it's triggering all like your monkey hive brain is like registering all these various food smells, and it smells good. If you see me, however, every person that ever sees me with my backpack sprayer on out there spraying, and they, understand where that smell is coming from, then they think it stinks and they wonder what I'm spraying. And they ask me, is it toxic? Is it poisonous? Is it okay for me to breathe that? I can smell that all the way over at my house. Yeah, dude, it's fucking garlic and pepper. It's the same shit that if you hadn't seen me doing it, you'd have probably thought it smelled good because it smells really garlicky. But it's all just in our perception. It's how we look at it, you know? Oh, me, Laura, you don't want your yard smelling like my repellent. It's got those notes in there, but your brain has to really work hard to put it together into something that smells like food. It's all individual food components. But yeah, trust me, you don't want to get any of that repellent in your mouth, and you definitely don't want to get any of that smell in your house. I made the mistake the other day. I had the house open, and I have to spray my own property now because we have so much deer around here. And I had the fan on in the basement, pulling the air through the house, and a couple of the windows open, and the back door was open. And I swear to God, it smelled more like my repellent inside the house than it did out in the yard. Like somehow the smell came in and just got like concentrated inside the house. And so for 2 days, the whole house just smelled like my deer repellent. I'm used to it. It doesn't bother me. And I honestly don't think it bothers my wife all that much either. But it's not a pleasant smell by any means. As I always joke with people, to me, it smells like money. So I ain't, don't bother me. I get people all the time like, oh, dude, how do you stand that? How do you fucking spray that shit all day? Well, it just smells like money to me. All right. Everybody's still understandably a little freaked out after their big ass water change tonight, but we are going to do a little bit of work to this tank too before we move on. No, it doesn't work on squirrels. It's supposed to work on um, like rabbits and groundhogs, anything that's a vegetarian or almost predominantly a vegetarian. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, deer will eat baby birds and stuff like that if they can find it. So they do get animal protein sometimes, but predominantly deer eat vegetation, and that's what it's designed to do. There's nothing in it that's toxic or harmful or anything like that. It just tastes bad. If deer are strictly herbivorous, they only eat plants. The idea is not only to have like the garlic and the pepper and stuff that's an unpleasant taste, but it's also got eggs and animal collagen and stuff like that in there, which is animal proteins. And so if you were a vegan and somebody came and sprayed animal sauce, on your salad, you probably wouldn't want to eat that salad anymore. And that's kind of the idea behind it, is it just makes it taste bad to them and sort of takes it out of their normal range of what food is. Again, no guarantee. When I always tell my customers, like, if you were starving, you'd eat bugs and worms and stuff. You eat raw fish guts if you were starving to death. And so no matter how bad I make your plants taste, if the deer around here are so starving that they don't have any alternative, they're just going to eat it. It's like I can't work magic. But it's a pretty effective repellent. And then, of course, once they've associated that taste with that very strong smell, then they don't even have to eat it anymore. Once they get used to, like, oh, I know what that fucking smell is, and as soon as they sniff the plants, they'll just move on. So it doesn't create like a barrier. I know like there's a brand out there called Liquid Fence, and I've seen countless people over the years who use it as though it's some sort of liquid fence. They spray it like in a line, like a perimeter around their garden, thinking it's creating some kind of barrier. The deer won't be able to walk past this line because it's a liquid fence I put on the ground. And that's not how it works. So the liquid fence works exactly the way all the deer repellents work. You have to spray it on the plant. You got to completely get every single leaf, stem, stick, bud, everything has to be completely covered in this repellent for it to work. But people take the liquid fence and they think they can just, literally create a fence around their garden. And it do not work that way. Let me see. I don't know about the garlic working in the plant beds. That's not a terrible idea. Get yourself a snow thrower. You'll be fine. Mike, you made it. All right, I am going to pour off my mushroom tea. Get that ready for here in a little while. It's not really complicated. I don't necessarily have to show you what I'm doing, but I just basically pour it through a coffee filter. I'll go in the other room and I'll swirl and rinse all those little bits of mushroom out of there. I'll run that through the coffee filter. And then when the coffee filter is more or less done drip drying, I'll twist it and slowly wring all the juice out of the coffee filter that I can so as not to waste any. And then I got a little bit of flavoring I'm going to put in there, and I'll have my tea. So I'm not going to drink it for a little while, I don't think. Waiting to see how that first batch affects me, although I don't feel like it's affecting me that much. I drank it over an hour ago, and it was less than a gram. It was 0.9 grams. So even, if I just chugged it and got full effect all at once, it wasn't going to be overwhelming or anything. And I spaced it out over about 25 minutes to drink it. So it should be a pretty mild buzz. Maybe by the end of the live stream when the second batch starts kicking in. Again, the second batch is only 0.5 grams, so it's not like I'm bumping it up a lot. Yeah, I don't think we get the Midwestern style snows and cold weather here in Maryland, but I've seen 4 feet of snow in Maryland a few years ago, maybe 6, 8, 10 years ago. I don't fucking know. I lose track of time. We had two 2-foot blizzards back to back. However, having said that, a single 2-foot blizzard in a wintertime is still pretty rare. There's winters where we don't get more than 10 inches of snow total from start to finish. 10 inches in a single fall, that's kind of a lot for Maryland. We don't often get 10 inches of snow at a time. We do get bitter fucking cold weather though. I don't know anybody that doesn't think we get the bitter cold weather. I mean, we have nights here where it's literally the real temperature is in the single digits, and it's a windy night. So if you were outside, the wind chill would feel like 20 below. That's not that unusual. If we have a mild winter, it's not like that. But if we have, it depends on whether it's El Nino or La Nina. This year is going to be a weird one. This year is kind of neutral. We're not getting an El Nino or La Nina. And so the jet stream's just going to kind of run straight through the country in a straight line. And if you think about that straight line like a bowling alley, I live where the pins sit. And so, when you're on that line between the cold northern air and the warm, moist southern air, that line is where the storms happen. So all that, you guys out in the Midwest and everything, you're just going to have those storms bowling across the country. And of course, again, I'm where the pins are. I'm where the ultimate, end result of the storm gets smashed. And of course, the Gulf air is feeding it as it's coming my way, and so on and so forth. So we could be in a situation where, some big storms either go just north of us or just go just south of us, or I could be right in the line of fire and I can get slammed this year. So it's kind of a throw of the dice. I don't really know what to expect. They can usually give you a relative idea of whether it's going to be a harsh winter or a mild winter. This year is kind of anybody's guess. Although the best weather forecasting I've seen has all said basically the same thing. The beginning of the winter is going to be fairly mild and uneventful, and it's going to lull you into a false sense of security. And then by like February and March is when we're really going to start getting the bad stuff. So it's probably going to be a late sort of winter here on the East Coast. So I always love that right when I'm ready for spring to come. That's when we get the big snows and the really cold weather. I'm not looking forward to that. But again, who knows? It's a throw of the dice this year, so we'll have to wait and see. Tater soup on Wednesday? Nice. You made it down to 58 last night. My high for the day this afternoon, I went out 3 times in my truck and I did not see a temperature over 53 degrees the whole time. I did see it as low as 51 degrees if I was like driving through the woods and shade and along a stream or something, it got down to 51, but 53 was what it was like out in the Walmart parking lot where the sun's shining and there's all the cars and the asphalt. And, like that's usually 7 or 8 degrees warmer than it is here at my house. And at Walmart, it was 53 degrees today. And we have a freeze warning for tonight. We've had 2 frost warnings so far, but tonight is an actual freeze warning for the area. So we're definitely down into the cold weather. At least it's cold by my standards. Fucking low 50s, and I'm not doing shit outside unless it's something I've got to do outside. That's not a go out and enjoy the day kind of temperature for me. That's shit, I got to bundle up because I need to go blow leaves or I have to go out to the store kind of day. But otherwise, I am inside. Do not like the 50s. I honestly don't really like the 60s. Once the temperature gets below 70, I'm none too happy. I don't know what the temperature is outside right now. I got the fan on in the window, but I didn't open the window in here because it's just too cold. I don't mind if it like pulls air from the entire house upstairs. We don't have any of the windows open or anything, but I have the fan on so low that the air, I forgot to move you guys to the next tank. I can tell the mushrooms are kicking in. I'm not even thinking about the damn camera anymore. I'm just talking. I got the fan set so low. I mean, you can literally see the blades going around like wum, 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 wum. And so it's just kind of moving air out of the basement. It's not really pulling a ton of air. If I opened a single window, you definitely feel the air coming in pretty forcefully. But without any windows open, I don't live in a hermetically sealed house. There's gaps and cracks, and there's air up in the attic and, everywhere else. Of course, the attic's open with the louvers on the ends and everything. And so I'm still pulling air through the house, but it's doing it gradually enough that it's not really causing the heat to come on all day long. It's not making the house cold or anything. If I just opened the window over there like I normally do, so it pulls all my smoke and everything out of the fish room, I'd have to be wearing layers by the end of the live stream, and I'm not about to do that. Yeah, that's interesting you say that, Laura. Most people don't realize that like cloud cover actually keeps you warm. All right, I moved the camera. Now I forgot to feed the fish, so let's do that part. We'll get through this fish feeding if it kills me tonight. I told you I was planning ahead when I got all my maintenance done in advance. I definitely don't want to be in this state of mind while I'm trying to like run water and do water changes and all that shit. But when I was younger, I always associated those overcast skies and cloudy skies with like stormy weather. If I went outside in the winter and I saw those clear skies, those incredibly clear skies you can see in the winter, like it never occurred to me, like those are the nights where it's bitter fucking cold because you don't have blankets over you. Those clouds literally act like blankets, keeping your area warm. So you're right with the cloud cover and being overcast. It'll definitely keep your temperatures from dropping too much overnight. I guess we're not doing too bad. My sense of time is so out of whack. And again, I know it's a mushroom thing. When I was taking a shower tonight, I was using brushing my teeth, and I have an electric toothbrush. And at 2 minutes, it pulses a couple times to let you know it's been 2 minutes. That's how long you're supposed to brush your teeth for. And I'm brushing and I'm brushing, and I'm thinking like I had to have missed the fucking pulse or something. Like there's no way I'm still brushing my teeth. Like have I gotten stuck? And finally, I was like, I'm done. Like I have to be stuck. Like this is just way too fucking long for me to be brushing my teeth. And then as I was getting ready to turn it off, it pulsed at the 2 minute mark. And so what was less than 2 minutes felt like I've been brushing my teeth for 10. And now I feel like we've been doing, I feel like we've been feeding these fish for like 2 hours already, and we're 25 minutes into the live streams. We're actually ahead of schedule. It usually takes about an hour to get all the way around all the tanks, and we're more than halfway done already. All right, let me have a puff of the old nicotine and we'll move on to the next tank. I didn't do anything to the gourami tank that we're going to be looking at next. I did top it off a little bit tonight, and I mean a little bit. It was just the water was just below the black plastic, and I had the hose in here doing stuff, and so I went ahead and topped it off. Probably put less than a gallon of water in it. But I did wipe the glass down before Wednesday's live stream, my members only live stream. Oh, if you're not a member of the, you're outside -20 feeding cattle in the winter. Yeah, lower 20s feels fucking balmy compared to -20. That's a big damn difference. That's 40-degree difference. Hey, DJ, by the way, how are you doing this evening? I got new merch. I haven't done merch in forever, and in fact, it's been so long since I've done merch that I was unable to get back onto my original merch store. Like I kept trying to, do the forgot my password and send me an email, and they kept saying we sent you an email, but I never got an email. So I have no idea why the emails weren't coming through, but I finally gave up and I just opened a new account. So I do have a new merch store, and I have got the link to my new merch store. I updated my default upload. So this video, when this becomes a video rather than the actual live stream, and possibly if you look in the description below, you might see all my regular standard uploaded information. My new merch store will be in that. So from now on, if you look at that merch store, that's the new one. All I posted was a t-shirt, a hat, stickers, and a coffee mug. And honestly, the only real reason I did it was for Zini, because Zini begged me for a coffee mug with my awesome photo on it. If you guys haven't seen the meme yet, if you're not a member, I'll show you what my new meme is. And if you actually look tonight, if you check your emojis, as the channel members have access to special emojis. So if the channel members would like to check their emojis, you will see that you have a new one, which is my lovely face, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is. So that is what is on my t-shirt, mug, hat, etc. The fuck you say? The fuck you just say? So I think that is fucking awesome. I love that picture, and it needs to be a meme. So if you want a mug that's got that on it, or a t-shirt or whatever, you can check out my merch. Again, the only reason I really did that was so that Zini could get a coffee mug. I don't really care if anybody buys anything. I could always use the support. I'm a broke-ass bastard and need money. Donations are always welcome. Memberships, anything you can do that would help would be awesome. But having said that, I didn't actually set a merch store up to sell merch. I'm not a store salesman. I just thought it would be a funny gag if anybody wanted to get that. And then, of course, like I said, Zini wanted it, so I got it mainly just as long as he buys a coffee mug, I'll be happy. Yeah, remember to put the food in this one. I do still want to do a little bit of work on the 125 when we're done feeding everybody. I want to trim that Anubias. There's a couple of sections I can just cut off completely and just separate them into new plants. And then there's probably a bunch of leaves in the way that are interrupting with the water flow. I got a power head down there that's supposed to be circulating water around the tank, and I'm just blowing it straight into that Anubias where it just goes to die. So, the water flow goes to die, not the Anubias. The Anubias is anything but dying. So I'm going to trim some of those leaves out of there. I'm going to leave the main body intact, so I'll still have a great, huge rhizome and a massive Anubias growing up out of the tank and everything. I just want to open that area up in front of the power head. So we'll do that here in a little bit. I know I'm going to cry all winter. I can make a crew neck sweatshirt. Right now it's just the t-shirt, and I do believe there's a long sleeve t-shirt. Although Teespring is weird. You tell it you want the logo on one thing or whatever, and you click a couple other, and before you know it, you got golf tees and diaper bags with my face on it. Like, I didn't click on any of that shit. So there might already be a sweatshirt on there. I don't know. There's already a sweatshirt. Yeah, see, I didn't upload a sweatshirt, or I did a t-shirt, a ball cap, a sticker, and a coffee mug. Anything else that's there just kind of got there. So again, that's fine. And if you want to buy the t-shirt, please do. I get $6 out of that or something like that. The lower the item is, the less money I get, obviously. If you buy stickers, then I'm only going to get $2 or something out of it. But if you buy the $40 sweatshirt, I might get 6 or 8. Let me see. What else was I going to say? Oh, I was going to talk about the cold temperatures and weather again. Shirley. But with the weather thing, it's all a matter of perspective. I've told the story a bunch of times before, but when I moved to Florida, I was walking around in a t-shirt and other people had on scarves and gloves and jackets and stuff. It's just a matter of what you're used to. I'll even say, personally, for me, a nice 65-degree day in March, I'm outside in a t-shirt because it feels balmy compared to the 25 degrees it was last week. 65 feels like a fucking summer day. This time of year, however, if it's late, August or the end of September or something, and you get a 65-degree day, that feels chilly. You're used to 90 degrees, and so now 65 feels chilly. So it's just a matter of what you're used to. And if you live in an environment that's normally between this, and then you go somewhere else where that's very different, you're just not going to be used to it. So as obnoxious as I was to all those poor people that lived in Florida, how I was always laughing and pointing at them when they were all bundled up and it was, 60 degrees out or 65 degrees and they acted like it was a blizzard. I had a neighbor move in Maryland who had come down from Buffalo. And I got so sick of hearing that motherfucker talk about the snow and how nobody in Maryland knows how to deal with snow. And I can't believe they close the schools every time, we get a foot of snow or, again, you lived in Buffalo. You dealt with feet of snow all the time. You had the equipment to do it. That was normal for you. A foot of snow is not normal for Maryland. And so stop acting like we should just deal with it the way fucking Buffalo deals with it. We can't deal with it the way Buffalo deals with it. We don't have the equipment and, et cetera, et cetera. And so that applies everywhere. If I went to Texas and somebody was complaining that it was chilly, well, they live in Texas. They're not used to it being chilly. How and why you all live in the Midwest and the upper Midwest and whatnot is still a mystery to me. I've never understood that. Oh, I don't know, Laura. He could probably just buy some firewood. Fish, the keeping, how are you? Yeah, exactly. Going up into northern Montana or something like that, it feels like you went into the fucking Arctic or something. There's no way I'd want to deal with that. When I went up into Maine to visit some friends of mine's family for the holidays once when I was a teenager, there was snow on the ground the entire time, but it wasn't like scenic winter. It was just there. Like once the snow falls, it's just there. It gets icy and crusty, and like the roads were just covered in snow and ice. They don't even bother to plow them or anything. Everybody just drives on it until it's packed down and like a hard sheet of packed snow. And everybody just drives on that all winter. And like there's no point in removing the snow. Like everybody's just used to driving around. And it was a tiny, tiny little small town. It was called Eastport. Had like 300 people living there or something. It was an old fishing village that had dried up when the canning factory left the town and all that. And one of those desolate towns. So it's not like there was a lot of traffic or people driving real fast on the roads or anything. But they just didn't deal with the snow. They did deal with it, but they didn't remove it. They just dealt with it. It was just all the time snow. I could not do that. I could not live in an environment like that. You're from Alaska, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, Wyoming is balmy. Poor Waffles. Rest in peace. I have no idea what you're talking about on that one, Laura. No, there's plenty of people from Alaska. They're generally referred to as Inuits. Hey, Cornish. Yeah, that would be another thing. I didn't even want to get into that when you start getting up into those real northern latitudes, the long fucking winter nights. Even down here in Maryland, on the solstice, we have sunset at 4:43 in the afternoon is sunset all the way down here in Maryland. Although I say all the way down here in Maryland, if you actually look at where Maryland is on the globe, it's pretty northern latitude. But I mean, not in like a northern latitude, but it's not. It's a lot further north than I ever realized growing up when I started looking at it. And what really blew me away is when I started drawing parallels on the map, and I would just go straight across to Europe. In my mind, growing up, you know, if you got in the Atlantic Ocean from Maryland and you just went due east, you'd run into England. You know, nope, I run into like Spain or something like that. Like England is way up north of where I am. Oh, I'm sorry, Cornish. I missed that comment. My condolences. That sucks. And I honestly don't think I'd like the other end of that spectrum either. If it was, you know, warm, I mean, light until, you know, 10 or 11 o'clock at night before it finally started getting dark. And then the sun's already, you know, it's dawn at 3 a.m. You know, I got a couple of hours of actual darkness. And of course, once you get far enough up, you know, you get into the land of the midnight sun, and it never really sets. It gets all twilighty. A lot of people don't realize that either. They think like it's just the sun up in the sky all day. Like the sun just goes down like it's going down, but doesn't quite ever get to the horizon, and it just starts coming back up again. And so you get like these twilighty, sunsetty environments, and then it just starts getting bright again, like it's daytime, and it just never actually gets dark. Of course, the other end of the year, it's, you know, always dark and never quite gets light. So I could not deal with that. All right, everybody. I feel like I'm talking about a whole lot of nothing tonight. Anybody got any questions, comments, any topics they want me to discuss, any fish related stuff on their mind? I feel like I'm talking to myself more than anybody, and I don't need to be on a live stream to do that. Bob. Not a lot to look at in this tank, as most of you probably know. I'll get this camera sorted out here in a minute. There you go. Turn that forward light on to really light it up. So I got the 3 little minnows swimming around, and the 2 discus are all that's in this tank. And the discus are pretty skittish. So we're just sticking with the vibrobites in this tank. Will I be doing anything with my pond next year? It seems pretty unlikely. Yeah, waffles always sound delicious. No, nothing really going on with the plants. I did add a new plant to the fish room here. It's one of my wife's plants, and we're starting to bring everything in. You see the potted plant there on the corner. I used to have some rocks piled on the corner, but I moved the rocks and I set the plant there to kind of cover up the corner. And so it needs a warm, humid environment with plenty of water. And my wife thought that down here would probably be a better place for it than in our kitchen. You want humidity. This is the place to put it. So we'll see how that does in the overwinter. That's one of those plants that we put out in the yard in the appropriate months. And then when the weather starts getting colder, we bring them in. My wife did a whole big round tonight. When I was down here doing my work, getting ready for the live stream, she was out in the yard collecting up potted plants and covering things up. And, we weren't expecting a freeze warning tonight. Well, I guess maybe if we'd been looking at the weather ahead of time. All right, Mike, do your duty. Let me take care of this notification. And we're back. All right, let's just move on to the next tank. There's never a lot to look at in this one. I got to squeeze my coffee filter out and get my mushroom goodness out of there. So, don't know where. Oh, yeah, Gilgalad is still right there. So, he's still alive and he's still feeding, but he clearly doesn't have a buoyant swim bladder. And so, I don't know how much time he's going to have. He has to lay on the bottom or lay on the plants and that sort of thing. But he's still in there and he's still feeding. That's my shrimp tank. I'll give you a quick look at this one, and we'll go have another look at my other shrimp tank because I did actually clean that up tonight. I love the way that Java moss is slowly just spreading out into this giant mound. I need to get in there and pull some of it out. I don't want it to actually get to the sponge filter. You can see it's already got some stuff growing on the sponge filter, but when that moss gets on the filter, like even if you pull it off, tiny bits of it stay there and it just keeps growing into the filter, and it can really screw up a sponge filter. So speaking of sponge filters, I told you guys already, I cleared out this sponge filter tonight. It was barely moving any bubbles or water was coming through it. And so now we got plenty of flow coming out of there. And for once, you can actually see into my little shrimp tank. I know it's still cloudy, but you can see in there. And it is just everywhere you look, there's just little shrimp swimming around and all over the bottom. It's like an ant's nest full of shrimp. I tried to vac as many of them out of there as I could when I did the water change. I tried to just siphon them out. I run the siphon through a aquarium dip net, and that way it catches all the shrimp, and then all the cruddy water and everything just goes through the sieve, and then I can take the shrimp and put them somewhere else. So I did put, I don't know, 6 or 8 shrimp, maybe 5 shrimp. It wasn't a lot for the fact that I drained 7/8 of that tank. They just avoid that siphon. I saw a few go up the tube, and when I checked the net, I had a few in there, but that was about it. The rest of them escaped unscathed and are still in that tank. So I'll get in there with an actual net and swirl it around. The problem is it's a tiny little tank, and I've got a ton of plants and rocks and birds and things in there, so it's limited on what I can actually do with a net. All right, let's stick with the Vibrobites. And I'm going to go take a few and throw them in the shrimp tank I have in the bathroom in here. This is the tank that I threw the ones I caught into. I'm trying to establish another breeding population in the tank in there. I had one going for a while, but then I did a big water change, and I set up that experiment to check for the tannin to find out whether, I separated the wood from the tank to see if the tannin was coming from the wood or if it was coming from the roots or if it was coming from both. I did determine that the majority of it's coming from the wood. but it is coming from both. I'm getting um, tannin in the water that no longer has any wood in it. All that's in it is Java fern, and I'm getting some staining in that water. So the Java fern is clearly putting some staining in it, but the container that I put the wood in to separate them, that container looks like tea. Now, I mean, it's really dark, and so it's obviously coming from the wood is the chief source of the tannin. I ordered a new mushroom bag yesterday. It shipped today. Don't know if I'm going to get a third flush out of that. It's looking really black on the surface, so I think I waited too long last time, and I think the mushrooms went to spore. And if that's the case, it's done. It's not going to do anything. So you can see the difference between water that has the wood in it and just the tank itself. Now you can see again there is some staining in the water. It does have a little bit of brown color to it, but not like that. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And that piece of wood has been submerged in water for nearly 15 years now. That's constantly, continuously been underwater for 15 years, and it's still putting out tannin like that. So, like I said before, for the people that say, oh, you just, how long does it take for tannin to get out of the wood? Like, it doesn't. If you've got wood, you're going to get tannin staining. Like, you can't get the tannin out of your wood and then put it in your tank and have tannin-free water. It just doesn't work like that. As long as there's wood in your water, it's going to break down and release tannic acid. I don't know, honestly. It might have something to do with the actual decomposition of the wood. Like, as the wood breaks down, it releases the tannin. I don't know if the tannin is just something that's stored in the wood, and as the wood slowly decays, it releases it. Don't understand the process, but I know as long as you've got a piece of wood in your tank, it will continue to release tannins. Now, I would also imagine different kind of wood will release different tannins. If you've got some really light colored, like white pine or something in there, I don't know how much tannin that's going to release. Although the Suwannee River is a blackwater river because of the roots of all of the pine trees that are nearby. So maybe it doesn't even matter what color the wood is. Maybe even light colored wood would release more tannin, or still release tannins. My assumption was that if it's like a dark brown, like a mahogany kind of wood, that would obviously release more tannin than something like pine that is a white color. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if that's true. No, I didn't give any salts or anything to the betta fish. It's an old fish. It's just, it's timing out. I love that Java moss in there too. I'm a big fan of Java moss. The only problem with it, it's like having an invasive species in my garden, like my, I don't know, the gooseneck loosestrife. I like the gooseneck loosestrife, but next spring it will be all through the bed, and I've got to start treating it like it's a weed, and clearing it out, except for the areas that I want it. And the Java moss is the same way. You put Java moss in your tank, and it will just start slowly consuming that tank. If we look in this one, you can see how it's slowly just, that's growing on the cord, the power cord for the power head down there. There's a piece of wood. I know you can't tell, but there's a whole entire piece of wood across the back of the tank that's just eaten by the Java. Now it's growing all over the rocks. It's gotten down into the substrate here in the front. That's another big piece of wood, and it's all just grown over that. You can barely tell there's a piece of wood in there unless you look all the way on this far end. You can see some of the, wood sticking out. So I like it, but it will eat your tank if you give it the opportunity. It is a triffid. All right, let me take a couple of puffs off of this, and then we're going to go do a little bit of work on the 125. And then we're going to come back and sit down. Oh, I'm sure it'll help your electricity bill. The stuff we shut down has reduced our electricity bill by almost 75%. We went from 435 last year for last, if we look at our bill from last month, last year's bill for that same billing period was $435. This year, because we didn't use our air conditioner, it's just been cool, so we haven't been using the air conditioner. And I shut 2 of my tents down because I'm not growing a lot of weed right now. I only have a couple plants that are growing, and so I only need the 1 tent. And so 2 of my tents shut down and not using the air conditioner. That's it. It's the only thing we've done to change our electricity consumption. And our bill last month was $121. So we went from 435 to 121 simply by not using the air conditioner and me shutting a few of my tents down. So I'm sure if you shut more than half your fish tanks down, or roughly half your fish tanks down, it might not be a huge amount, but I bet it'll be noticeable if you look at your month over month. You look at the month, what you used last year in that same billing period, I bet you will use considerably less. All right, let's move on, get this tank maintenance done, and then I can sit down, call it a night. All right, so you see how I've got the power head right here. Now I'm going to stab myself in the eye with my scissors. Let's put the scissors down. I wasn't even running with them. So I got the power head right there, and then, of course, you see what the power head flows directly into. It's rather dense. And so what we're going to do is get in there and remove some of that. If anybody's interested in any Anubias, I don't know what Anubias this is, but if anybody's interested in it, I'm going to have a few chunks that I'm going to cut out of there. If you email me or contact me, we can work something out. First thing I want to do is get this chunk off the front, because that's like a whole new growth coming off of it. We don't need that. I'm not sure where the beginning of it is. Let's see how far down we can go. Oh yeah, it goes way down there. All right, make sure my fingers are out of the way. And they were. Let's get all these leaves we cut. And yeah, I figured there's going to be a ton of shit and crud trapped in the middle there. Oh, it stinks too. So that's a pretty nice root mass on the end of that where I cut it off. So it's still got a lot of dirt and crud in it. So if anybody wants a chunk of Anubias, you got that available. And as you can clearly see, it's got black, cyanobacteria, algae. I'm not trying to pretend I'm going to be selling you some sterile piece of plant. So if anybody wants that and is interested, just give me a holler, and I'll let it float in the tank in the meantime. And also, while we're in there, we're going to cut out some of these leaves that are directly in front of the water flow. In fact, let's see if I got another little shoot I can cut off here. I actually can cut this whole shoot off. I'm desperately trying to make sure I don't accidentally cut the main rhizome. It's a pretty serious rhizome, so I don't know how I would actually do that by accident, but I'd have to use 2 hands to squeeze on the scissors to cut it. So there's another pretty good root mass on this one. I'm trying to cut them off with something attached to them. So that one's a little more leggy looking. Again, not going to be sterile, but I now have 2 chunks of Anubias if anybody's interested in those. And these manky dead looking leaves can get cut out of here. And I guess that's about it. We'll cut this big one off. All right, so that gives us a little bit of flow across the front. Lets a little more light into the tank. So we're actually going to get some movement out here in the middle. And if you look down here, look at how this piece of wood, the Anubias, has grabbed a hold of it and is actually, it's gently, but it has rooted in. These roots are actually grabbed onto that piece of woodwork. And that actually used to be lying across the top of the tank, and then it just fell in one day. And I just kind of liked it in there. It just gave it a nice texture with that, fallen piece of wood. And so I left it there, and now I've got Anubias growing on it. And now I can't pull it out, or it'll bring, well, I guess I could tear the roots and everything, but otherwise it's going to come out with the Anubias, or the Anubias is going to come out with the wood, rather. All right, everybody, that was the amount of work I wanted to get done in there, and we were successful. So now I'm going to go sit down. So email me if you're interested. All right, watch your head coming through. What did I just tell you? God damn it. I told you to watch your head. All right. Let me get my stuff together here, and then I'm going to cop a squat, call it a night. Had to make an emergency run up to the grocery store tonight. I was out of lemon juice. So I had just enough lemon juice to make my first batch of tea, which I already drank, but then I didn't have any more lemon juice. I used the last couple little drops to make that cup of tea. And so I ran out, got some more. Hence, I have a second cup of tea. And yes, lemon juice is not a flavor additive for my preference. It's necessary to correctly make the tea. If you don't add the lemon juice, it doesn't turn out right. The lemon juice prevents it from oxidizing. If you don't put the lemon juice in there, the whole glass of tea will slowly turn blue. And as you're watching it turn blue, you're watching your trip vanish before your eyes. All the blue color is just ruined psilocybin. Like, it should not turn blue. And it's the lemon juice that prevents it from doing so. All right. So we're back. Right. Yeah, I like those aggressive growers too. Yeah, most mosses are like that. Mosses are one of those like primordial plants that's been around since like before roots were invented. And so it's just like algae, cyanobacteria, all that stuff. It's survived for 10 gajillion billion years for a reason. It's tenacious. For you, Art, $20 or something, just cover my shipping and expenses or whatever. Sideshow. I didn't bunk my head. It was you guys that bunked your heads. I will bunk my head later when we start wrapping up for the evening, because I always leave my stupid ring light hanging down. And then I don't know why, but I've been doing this for several years now. And I still walk into that damn thing and bunk my head. All right. Probably a little early for this, but at the same time, it's getting a little late for this because I don't want to be up all friggin' night long. But I put a little bit of blue raz flavoring in my tea just so that it doesn't taste like mushroom feet, and it will just taste like blue raz. So that's another half gram of mushrooms in there, and I'm not going to drink it in one chug. We'll see. Blah. And I say that because I don't like the blue raz flavor. Still better than mushrooms, but it's not good. This joint is long overdue. Kane, how are you this evening? No, it's not the mushroom flesh that changes color. It's when you handle it and you bruise it, you're breaking cells, and the cells contain psilocybin. And outside the cells, there are enzymes that will actually break down the psilocybin. They break it down into psilocin, which is a very unstable molecule. And then the psilocin oxidizes, and that blue color comes from, I can't remember the name of the molecule, but whatever oxidized psilocin is creates a blue coloration. So you are ultimately seeing that blue coloration from the psilocybin, but it first breaks down into psilocin, then it oxidizes and turns blue. So even handling a mushroom will bruise it enough to expose the enzymes to the psilocybin, and you'll get that bluing color. But when you make tea, if you put a little bit of acid in there, lemon juice, the acid binds to the psilocybin and prevents it from being broken down by the enzymes. So the first thing you do is you dry your mushrooms out bone dry. And then when you grind them up to make the tea, there's no moisture there. It has to have moisture, oxygen, those enzymes, and the psilocybin all have to come together to start that process. So if you chop it all up while it's bone dry, there's no moisture for that to start happening. So while it's still dry, you put the lemon juice in it. The acid basically locks the psilocybin into psilocybin. Then you can put the water in and let it steep for a while. If you just put the ground mushrooms in the water and let it steep, you'll just see that water slowly turning blue. And it's because the oxygen and the water are oxidizing the psilocybin into this blue color. So, I mean, if you don't believe me, then you can go ahead and do it, and you'll just drink blue, nasty tasting water, but it will have no effect on you. I've done it many times now. That's why I know all this. I was trying to figure out why the fuck is my mushroom juice not working, and that's why it doesn't work. You've got to add that lemon juice to block that process from happening. Oh, we're doing all right. Hey, cool videos from a cool guy. How are you doing? Oh, I used to have a lot of moonlight gouramis. Moonlights are my favorite gouramis. They're kind of hard to come by. They're usually a little on the expensive side. And for some reason, I have never seen male moonlight gouramis. Every moonlight I've ever seen has been female. Either that or they're the only gourami that doesn't have like the long pointed fin for the males and the more rounded one for the females. Every moonlight, not only that I've owned, but every one I've ever seen in the store has a little rounded dorsal fin, has little rounded, anal fin. They don't appear to be male gouramis. Otherwise, they're fantastic. They get a little bit big, so again, you're going to need a little bit of space, especially if you have a small group of them. But they're really docile. They get along with each other. They're more likely to get bullied by other fish than be bullied. Be the bullies. And they're stunning. They're absolutely gorgeous. They've got tiny, tiny, tiny little scales on them, even smaller than the silver dollars. It almost looks like they don't have scales. It looks like they have this sort of silvery sheen for skin. It's like this bluish silver color. It looks like moonlight shining on silver. They're gorgeous. So if you can get some and you got the room and everything, I would definitely recommend them. Yeah, see, exactly. Even a honey gourami will bully the moonlights. The moonlights are probably the most docile of all the gourami species. I'm glad you brought them up. I think I might have to start thinking about getting some moonlight gouramis back in my tank. I used to have a bunch of them, but as they died off, I never replaced them. Something different went in there, and ultimately now I've got a bunch of the pearl gouramis in there, which I'm glad about. I've always wanted a big group of them, and I had to get rid of all the other gouramis because pearl gouramis are also really docile, and if they've got more aggressive gouramis in the tank with them, they just bully them to death. So once all my other gouramis were gone, I was able to successfully put a bunch of moonlights in there, and I've been really happy with them. I like the moonlight. Pearls. I like the pearls a lot. Moonlights are my favorite, though. I can already tell I'm going to have to light this joint 1,000 times tonight. No, I don't do Venmo, but I do Zelle. I had Venmo once. A friend of mine had sent me some money, and then I don't remember whether I was sending him money or he was sending me money, but I looked on his Venmo thing, and it listed like all the people that he had given money to. It was like his coworkers, and I'm like, why am I seeing this? Like, I'm seeing all these people's names and the transaction amounts. And I asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, that's just how Venmo is. He said, I can set it to private. And I was like, no need, I'm done. Like, and he's like, dude, you don't have to do that. I'll just block you so that you're not in I was like, don't worry about it. I'm never using Venmo again. And I deleted the app, and I've never used Venmo again. I had no idea that shit is just default set to be just public record of who you've given money to and how much you've received and all that shit. It's not anybody's fucking business. So yeah, I don't use Venmo. Fuck Venmo. But Zelle is actually a bank-to-bank transfer. Venmo is like person to person. Zelle is like bank to bank. So if you have a bank account, you have Zelle, you just go onto the transfer funds page and you'll find a send money with Zelle. And then you can find me either through my phone number or through my Gmail address, danielhiteshew@gmail.com. And then you send it to me and it goes bank to bank. It's a more secure transfer. It's a private transfer. It's what the banks use to move money around. So it's definitely more secure than Venmo, which apparently is not very secure at all. Well, I do have a PayPal. I would think shrimp with the Moonlight Gourami would make a fine snack for the Moonlight Gouramis. Damn it. I should have kept puffing instead of stopping to talk because I almost had it, but it went out again. My thought about rehoming fish. Can you be more specific what you mean by rehoming them? I mean, I've rehomed a lot of fish that they've either outgrown the tanks they were in and I had to put them in a new one. I've helped rehome fish from viewers of mine that have moved and had no place to get rid of their fish. And so I took them, so I don't really know what specific scenario you're talking about, but like moving fish to a better home is fine. It's good. You should do that in a lot of cases. Again, if somebody's got a fish that they, the aquarium store told them, here, buy this for your 10-gallon tank, and 6 months later, it's clear that it's going to be a 15-inch fish. That fish needs to find a new home. It ain't going to be able to live in that 15-gallon tank. So, rehoming it is just a necessary part of that. Now, if you're talking about rescuing fish is something a little different. And depending on how you define rescuing fish, that's either good or I think it can be bad. And I'll clarify. Places like Ohio Fish Rescue, 2 thumbs up. Love those guys. They're actually rescuing fish that have gotten themselves into a jam for whatever reason. Somebody bought fish that got too big or they had to move or something. These fish are fish that people own. Something's happened that they can't keep these fish anymore. And so they have to do something with them because, like my cats, if I suddenly had to move into some place that didn't allow cats, I don't just let them starve to death. I have to find new homes for those cats. Now, what I won't do and what I won't condone, I think this is very wrong. I know it's a controversial topic, and I know a lot of people disagree with how I feel about this, but rescuing fish from bad fish stores, like the people, I know Walmart doesn't carry fish anymore, and haven't for a very long time, although I still do get comments about Walmart's fish, even though they haven't had fish in 20 fucking years. But back in the day when Walmart, I think 2019 or something, they officially phased them out. But I hear a lot of people talking about all these, oh, I rescued all these fish from the pet store. People do it with the betta fish. They'll rescue these betta fish because, oh, they shouldn't be living in these little plastic containers. They should live in a tank. And so I rescued them. You didn't fucking rescue anything if you bought a fish from a store. What you did was make a purchase from the store. That store doesn't give a shit why you bought those fish. All it knows is like, damn, every time we fill this tank full of fish, somebody comes in and buys them all. Look, keep that thing full. That's how they make money. If you really want to rescue the fish from Walmart, and this is ultimately what eventually happened, you just have to not go to the fish section. I know it sucks to know that all those fish in those tanks are probably going to die, but for fuck's sake, look at the world around you. Does a few fish dying make that much of a difference in the real grand scheme of things? I know it sucks, but just walk away. Just ignore that fucking fish department and stop buying fish from them, and they'll stop selling them. That's how you rescue fish from a place like Walmart. Stop buying them. When you stop buying them, they'll stop stocking them. And when they stop making money on it, they won't carry them anymore. If you go in there every Saturday and rescue all those fish, you're buying all those fish. You're just making purchases. You're giving profits to the people that are going to you're encouraging them to continue doing that. Just walk away from those places. If you see a fish store that you think is a shitty fish store, stop shopping there. Don't go buy your fish food there. Don't give them a penny. Don't purchase. You have power with it's the power of the purse. If you stop purchasing stuff from a business, they'll stop doing the things that are causing people to stop buying shit from them. And that, again, ultimately is what happened with Walmart. It became more expensive than it was worth to keep carrying them. And they said, this isn't profitable anymore. And they stopped doing it. It wasn't like they woke up one day and had a conscience and realized that we can't treat these fish this way. This is cruel. No, they woke up one day and looked at numbers and said, we're just not making money off of fish anymore. Let's get rid of the fish section. We could use that for fucking hair care products. We make far more profit off of that. That's how you rescue fish from these places. You stop buying them and they'll stop carrying them. I know it sucks, but that's the only way you can effectively, make some kind of change in these places. I just heard my phone go off, so that's probably what that was. Oh, nice, Kane. Hope you have a good time. I need to get down there one of these days. I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow. I already got plans with the missus. Yeah, I would never do that. If somebody accidentally sent me money or the bank put money in my account, I ain't touching that money, because even though it's their mistake, if I accidentally sent too much money, they'd say, oh, sorry, it's your mistake. That's just their money now. But if they send you the money, you fucking give it back. It doesn't matter if they made a mistake. They want their money back. That's just how that shit works. $120 for 6 years. Yep. They probably spent $10,000 trying to get their $120 back. Yeah, that's exactly right, Cornish. People doing shit like that. They get fish. When they start growing too big, they just chuck them in a local lake, or they just flush them down the toilet and get rid of them. Well, something like that, yeah, that's fine. But your bank is going to fucking take that money back somehow, and if you can't, they're going to sue your ass. Let me see my messages here. All right, Arc Knight sent me $1. So there you go. There's your confirmation. And what was my other message? Oh, the other message was from Laura. All right, Laura, we'll talk about that and figure that out. And it looks like I also have one new email. Oh, that's the email confirming my $1 deposit. All right, so I'm all caught up on all that. So, yep, I got your money, Art. That's the way to do it. And Laura, I'll get you together some kind of package or something, and I'll throw some of that Anubias in there. So I'm assuming Chris wants one of those Anubias, Laura wants the other, and so that's it for the Anubias. I don't have any more to sell. And then again, I can go around and just I'll chat with you, Laura. We'll figure something out. I'll get you some plants. I can pull some stuff out of the yard. I can get some moss out of the yard if you want it. And of course, we're trimming everything back, so I could probably even dig up some stuff out of the yard if you wanted it. So we'll chat. Goddamn, time is fucked up for me tonight. I got to take this out of my mouth before I drink. For a moment, I was going to use it like a straw. That's not a straw. What was I thinking? And I will also add about my mushroom syrup. I have not ordered that in over a week now. I ran out and I just haven't ordered it anymore. For one, I got to stop spending the money. I just don't have the fucking money to keep buying that stuff. And two, now that I've actually got the real psilocybin, it's still a different experience, and I still enjoy that experience. But if I've got my choice between the free mushrooms that I currently have or a very expensive mushroom experience on that syrup, I'm just going to go ahead and stick with my regular mushrooms. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to get another flush out of my bag over there, and so it's going to be about 6 weeks before my next. I ordered a new bag. I got to inoculate it. I got to let all the mycelium grow. That's going to take over a month, and then I got to let it start the flowering process or the fruiting process or whatever. So it's going to be, pushing Christmas time before I've got more mushrooms again. So pretty soon it'll be back to the syrup. I've got to find a new source of income, though. This YouTube shit ain't cutting it. Up, you snooze, you lose, Shirley. No, we never grow vegetables. Zany, there you are. Been missing you this evening. We did grow. We have one pepper hanging off a pepper plant that just grew out of a pot of dirt we had in the back. Not like a pot of dirt. It was one of my old weed, the soft-sided planters I use with my substrate. And I had taken it outside, and for whatever reason, the weed wasn't in there anymore, and it was just still out in the yard. Somehow or another, a pepper plant seed must have got in there. And all summer, we watched this plant grow that clearly looked like it was a pepper. It developed exactly one pepper. It's about the size of a tennis ball, and it's mostly green, but it's turning red on like one side right now. And that's it. That's as far as the vegetables we grow. I don't get any sun. All the plants I get here, if it says part to full sun, if it's shade to part sun, then I'm good. Like I can do the part sun or leaning towards the shady side. But if the low end of the spectrum is part sun to full sun, those plants they're all leggy and fucking gangly and all over the place. Like they just don't get enough sun in my yard. I live in the woods. So there's probably some kind of vegetables we could grow, but usually vegetables need a lot of sunlight and whatnot. And we don't really eat those, it's just not something we're interested in doing. Yeah, no, you said you were going to take a nap, Zany. I sent you a text to try to wake you up, but I didn't think you'd get the alert to wake you up. All right, Ark, I will check that out here in a minute. Now, I don't think I'm going to be going down there anytime soon, Kane. I appreciate the offer, though. Yeah, you told me before that it didn't matter if I texted you or sent you messages while you were sleeping because it wouldn't wake you up anyway. But I figure that's the only thing I can do. I got no other way to try to contact you, but I wanted to make sure you were awake for the live stream. So you've already missed all the exciting mushroom stuff. I drank the first glass of tea an hour before the live stream started, and I just drank another glass of tea, but I also showed everybody how I made it and whatnot. So you missed all that in case you ever want to make your own mushroom tea. You did make it. Did you see the new emoji? I told everybody about my new merch, inspired by Zini. You can thank Zini if you like that new merch, because that's the only reason I made it, so that Zini could get a coffee mug. Dude, is that the one? That's so small, I can't even fucking see it. No, that's just a fish. Oh, yeah. There it is. Holy crap, that's tiny. I saw the fish at the end of your text, but I didn't see the emoji at the beginning of it. I've never understood why people get so upset when I mean, like if you're out in the woods or something, I get it. But like if you're home and you're watching the live stream and your phone alerts you that it's down to 5%, mine does it at 15%. It darkens the screen to conserve battery. And then at 5%, it puts a red fucking warning across the top of the phone saying, battery critical. I plug it in. And then if I'm watching videos or I can be 3 or 4 feet away from just plug it in, charge it, and then you can I've never understood that. Oh, my phone died in the middle of the live stream, and why didn't you just plug it in? I never understood that. I have little power banks with me, so if I am going to be out for a long day, like if I know I'm going to be out on the water and I'm going to be filming and using a lot of different cameras and stuff like that, I just take a power bank with me. And then when my phone starts getting down, 20% or something, I just plug it into the power bank. I can use the phone, hold the power bank and the phone in my hand, and it's got enough juice to charge my phone completely about 3 times over. So I've just never understood the whole, like, my battery died in the middle of whatever before. Well, I did put it on both types of mugs. You've got your standard, ceramic coffee mug with the handle on the side, and then it's like one of the insulated, like tumbler style, like a 20 ounce or something like that. And it's that. So in order to make it, the photo itself was too small, and I couldn't figure out how to expand the size of the photo. And so what I did was took a screen cap around the photo just to get the pixels there. And so if you look at the merch, like on the coffee mug, it's clearly a rectangular photo, but I tried to blend the background color of the mug dude, I spent 20 minutes trying to match this color. I got it really close. So you got to really look at it to notice there's actually a rectangle of one color in the middle, and then the rest of the mug is a slightly different color. The idea was I wanted you to just see my face on the mug, not my face in a big square rectangle on the mug, And so I did my best to color match it. When you look at the shirt, obviously it's going to be a blue shirt with a big rectangle in the middle, and then my face is going to be in the middle of that rectangle. Again, I don't really give a fuck. The only reason I did that was to get a coffee mug for Zini, because I told him last night while I was on mushrooms that I would. And I was like, all right, I guess I said I would, so now I have to. So I did. It's still probably the best picture I've ever taken of me. And it wasn't even a picture. It was the thumbnail from a video I shot. And it's just so perfect. No, I'm not going to lie. Everything I've ever seen that comes from this, merch store, it's pretty crappy. So you're going to pay $28 for a tumbler that you could probably get at Walmart for 16. If it didn't have my face on it, but you're not going to get any like super high quality material. It's just you're going to pay a lot of money for it. So if you want the mug, I think the coffee mug is only like $12 or maybe $18 or something. But the thermal mug, I think, is 22 or something. It's not ridiculous, but it is. You're not going to get a good high quality product for the money you spend. You see, this is why I'm not a salesman and don't sell merch, because I'm too fucking honest about it. I just tell it like it is. It's Teespring. You're going to get crap material. The shirt I got from them, I barely ever wear it, and like the print is all like cracking and breaking and flaking off of it, and I only ever wore it during live streams, and I didn't even wash it after every live stream. I deliberately kept it as user friendly as possible to avoid the stuff tearing and everything, and it still came apart. No, I'm definitely not going to be growing herbs out of my fish tank. It is my face, though, which is the sexiest of faces. I need one of the shorts for live streams. Oh, my little purple shorts. No, we definitely don't need a. We don't need a little. Oh, I need to get one of the shirts for my live streams. I got you. That makes more sense. I thought you were doing. I thought you were suggesting that I make a thumbnail. Like I got my fishing hits thumbnail with me blowing a bong hit across the pond. I thought you were suggesting I make a thumbnail of me wearing my little purple shorts for the fucking to advertise for my live stream. I'm thinking I don't know what kind of crowd I'd really attract if that was my thumbnail. But I did think about that. If I buy, yeah, it would be probably a fun crowd. If I buy one of my Teespring products, I get a little bit of a discount. So like normally if you buy a t-shirt, I get like $4 from your purchase or something. So if I buy the t-shirt, I just don't have to pay that additional $4 overcharge. That is what my little slice is. And so if you pay $22 for it, I'll get it for 18. But I still have to spend, $20 fucking on a cheap t-shirt from Teespring. It is a fucking fantastic t-shirt, and I would love to be able to just like if somebody asks me a question that I don't like, I can just point it at my shirt, let you read my shirt for a minute, and then go back to talking, because I'm not even going to justify that comment with a fucking response. I'm just going to point you at my shirt for a moment, and then I'm going to go back to talking. I think the shirt says it all. It is pretty good. Yeah, I knew that emoji was going to show up so tiny nobody could possibly read it. If I didn't know what it was, I wouldn't even be able to tell what it was, let alone read the fucking words that are on it. Still haven't seen Janice show up. I made my new 4-year badge for her. She was complaining that I hadn't updated my badge, and so I updated the badge, and she hasn't been back since. So I'd love to see what her badge looks like. So if anybody is in contact with Janice, tell her to pop in and let me see what her new badge looks like. She's the one that was making a fuss out of it. Man. last little bit of that roach gets rough. Let me see if I still got the photo on my phone of what I made her badge out of. I found a beautiful picture that hopefully she will like. Let me see if it's still here. Hang on a minute. All right. I'm definitely not showing you guys my pictures because I got all kind of naughty stuff on my phone. That's our Christmas cactus in the kitchen right now. Is in bloom right now. I'll say right now again. Why not? I already said it twice. Instead of showing you my garden, those are my 2 weed plants that I got growing right now. They're both looking fantastic. So I'm still mite free. And I'm probably going to have to scroll back a bit. If you remember the other night I was talking about the master, Roger Delgado, that had the long-ass name when you actually look it up. That's him. All right, what other kind of appropriate photos can I show you guys? I'm actually just looking for the damn, oh, there's a good one on my knee. Now I'm getting way back here. It's not in here. Why isn't it in my photos? Can't imagine I deleted it. It's probably not in my photos on my photos app. It's probably in a folder on my damn computer, and that's why I can't find it on my phone here. So anyway, what it was, Janice said she wanted a mushroom for her emoji, or her new badge for 4 years. And so I found the Amanita muscaria. It's the Mario mushroom, the red one with the white spots on it. And it's just a fantastic picture of it. I don't know if it was artificially lit or if somebody just hit the jackpot with this photo, but it's real close up and it's kind of low, so you can sort of see under the cap a little bit. You can see a little bit of the gills, and the sun is just beaming on the back side of it, and it gives just like this glow. It almost makes it look like a natural mushroom lamp. Fucking gorgeous photo. And so I cropped that right around the mushroom into a little circle. And that is going to be Janice's badge if she ever shows up again. So hopefully she'll like it. Oh, thank you, Zini. Yeah, it's hard to believe. And Janice has been a member pretty much since I started. She was my first paid member. I don't know if it was the day I did it or not, but I talked about it on a live stream saying I'm going to start this membership thing, and and boom, she was on it. She signed up. So she's the matriarch. She's my OG member, and she's now gone past 4 years. So I've been doing these live streams longer than 4 years because I didn't start the membership thing until after I started doing the live streams. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I started them at the same time. If I didn't, it was shortly after. But I think I've been doing live streams longer than 4 years now. All right. Thank you again, Zini. Welcome aboard, JP, if you're watching. Yeah, I guess if I go in the bathroom and turn the lights out and say Janice, Janice, Janice into the mirror, she'll show up. Yeah, both Shamu and Zini, especially Zini, have been here since they were little chillins, but not on my live streams. My live streams have only been going for a few years, whereas I think Zini was 11 when he started watching my YouTube videos, because I've been doing the channel for over 10 now. And Shamu, I think, was like 14 or 15 when he started watching my. No, he had to have been older than that because he's 26 now. So he was like 15, I think, when he started watching my videos, and he's still around. He doesn't catch them all the time, but He's out doing stuff. He's living his best life, we'll say. He's out partying, having a good time in his late 20s. Nope, wrong device. I need this one for this. So I don't blame him for not catching all my live streams. I was chatting with him this evening. I was kind of expecting him to be here, honestly. All right, I can definitely feel that second wave of mushrooms coming on. This is starting to feel more like a trip. When I walked into the other room, I felt like I was standing still and everything was moving past me. That's a sure sign that you feel like you're tripping. Have you ever experienced that? Like if you're walking over a long distance, if you're tripping, it's easy to do. But if you're not, you can still kind of get yourself in this mindset where you almost start to feel like you're on a treadmill and you're not moving, but like the world's rolling underneath you as you walk, and you're kind of just staying in one place in space and time, whereas, you know, the earth's rolling underneath your feet. I've done that plenty of times, not on mushrooms. I don't know. Based on the things that Shamu tells me he gets up to when he goes out hanging out with his friends and whatnot, it doesn't sound like a good time to me. But I'm also a 53-year-old man, so what do I know? You know, when I was his age, I might have thought differently. I don't really know what he does in it. He never tells me. He always tells me shit about his friends, but he never tells me what they're actually doing. So I actually don't even know what he does in his spare time. But he seems to do a lot of it. I wonder how long it's going to be before that stops making me laugh. That is just the best picture ever. I know what else I need. I need some of my iced tea. Apparently need a lot of my iced tea. I don't know what it is about mushrooms, but they make me thirsty and they make me pee. I go through so much iced tea. It's fake iced tea. It's the squeezed juice, you know, we put the flavoring in or whatever. So I'm basically just drinking water. So there's no real diuretic effect to it. So you can't say it's because I'm drinking so much tea. It would be the same as if I was just drinking a lot of water. You drink a lot of water, you got to pee, you know. But the mushrooms I think it's the mushrooms, the psilocybin metabolizes through your body really quickly. And I think it is my body like trying to flush the metabolites and stuff out of my system. I haven't quite figured out why I get thirsty. It's not like a cottonmouth thing. It's like I need fluids. I feel thirsty. So whatever. When you feel thirsty, you should drink water. So I do. You have to do my thing with the diabetes. Oh, with the thirsty, I got what you're saying. Like, yeah, well, when I had, I'm not going to say it was diabetes. It was pancreatic failure because of my drinking, and that's what finally ultimately sent me into the hospital. Um, I would take a gallon jug of water to bed with me at night, and by 2 hours in, it was gone, and I would have to go refill the gallon jug of water. I've never been that kind of thirsty in my life. I would have put my head in a puddle and sucked it dry if I had to. I was never experienced thirst like that. My blood sugar was like 500 something or whatever. And so it's, you know, my blood was too thick. My blood was like syrup with all the blood sugar. And you drink water like that to literally try to dilute your blood and water it down so it can flow properly. So if you're still getting really thirsty like that, Shirley, you should pay more attention to your blood sugar. Make sure everything's okay. Well, the peeing thing becomes inevitable. You're going to sooner or later, whether you want to or not. The getting something to drink is a different story. I don't know if there's a health warning or disclaimer. Let me go find. When you say liquid mushrooms, I assume you mean my mushroom syrup, not the tea I make. Threw it in the trash can with the dryer lint, and all the syrupy stuff has dryer lint all stuck to it, but I'll salvage as best I can. Let's see, is Phil going to make an appearance? No, Phil's not even going to make an appearance. My phone is going to make an appearance. The writing on this bottle is so small that even if I put my glasses on, which are 2 times magnifiers, I still can't see shit on this. I mean, do you see those lines? Look at that. Look how tiny that fucking print is. It's insane. So what I do is I just use my phone, put it on camera, and then just zoom in. It's like a, you can think of it as a variable magnifying glass. You can magnify as much or as little as you need for whatever you're looking at. All right, let's see. It's high potency syrup. Let me zoom in a little more. 21, not intended for under the age of 21. Contains 0 THC, and it does have a 21 plus. That's probably big enough where you can actually see the little 21 plus right there on it. But as far as like a health warning, like does this, product cause cancer or whatever, I don't think it has anything on that. Let me zoom in even more. Jesus. And I got to get it to focus. Warning, may cause psychotropic effects. I hope so. That's why I bought it. Sugar, fat, daily values. I think that says produced and designed are blah, blah, blah. It's just like the name of the company. It's WinSS Inc. or something. This is a house. This is a tray house as a trademark. So Treehouse is a trademark of Treehouse Wellness Inc. God damn, this is tiny writing. I'm struggling to read this. Distributed by blah, blah, blah. So no, nothing on the label about health warnings or anything. Oh, wait a minute. There's a warning. Warning, do not drive vehicles or operate heavy machinery. Let me get my glasses and see if I can read this. This is fucking impossible. My phone's shaking all around. All right, Judge, if you're still there. So apparently Phil is going to make an appearance. Hey, everybody, it's Phil. All right, this might be a little easier. Do not drive vehicles or operate heavy machinery after consuming this product. Intoxicating effects of this product may be delayed, may cause drowsiness. Consult with a doctor before consuming this product. Do not use this product if you're pregnant or nursing. 21 and over only. Keep away from children and pets. This is not an FDA-approved product. These statements have been evaluated. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended as a diagnosis, treatment, cure, or prevention of any disease. Purchase this product, blah, blah, blah. You assume all risks yourself if you take it. This product should be used only as directed on the label. All right, there you go. There's all the warnings and whatnot. God damn. I don't think I'm going to do any more reading for the rest of the night. That hurt. Oh, let me see here. It sounded like I just got a message, but I don't think I did. I didn't. No, that's stupid. All right, did that answer all your questions about the warning labels? Yeah, fuck them dandelions. I'm right there with you on that one, Zini. What the fuck? Yeah, it is Willy Wonka small. It's crazy small. Yeah. Do not do not. Hey, Lex, how are you? Do not attempt a water change while drinking this mushroom syrup. So, all right, I feel like that second cup of tea is settled in nicely. This is a nice place to be for a live stream. I wish it was a little more than this for after the live stream, but this will do nicely for tonight. Speaking of which, it is getting down in time there, so let's get on up into first positions. Unless anybody's got anything else they want to chat about, I'll start winding it down here soon. Sorry, Zini, I know you just got here, but that's not my fault. And of course, you know, you can chat with me all night long anyway, especially since you just woke up. I'm pretty sure you're going to be up the rest of the damn night. And I'm pretty sure I will too. I'm already thinking about what Doctor Who I'm going to start with. I had some Doctor Who observation I wanted to make the other day because I know how much you guys love those. Oh, I'm not going to bonk my head tonight. Look at that. I thought about it in advance this time. Ha ha! Outwitted the lamp for once. All right, I'm also going to have to pack up a bunch more cones because I only have one left, and that's not going to get me through the night. Hey, Redhead, how are you? Now you got to go listen to the Oompa Loompa song. Yeah, once you get the stuff in your head, then you gotta. The only way to get it out is to work it through. I get it. All right, let me go put my phone back on the charger too. I'll get my tablet so that I can actually respond to you guys. And I'm not saying goodnight at the moment. I'm just getting ready, starting to wind down. I'm ready to stand up a little bit. I wasn't sitting down that long, but I definitely feel like I'm ready to stand up a little bit. These right here, this is my peace lily. It's a house plant you can buy anywhere. And this one's actually got a couple of bracts on it. You can see how much pollen falls off of it. Let's see how much. I did this the other day when Steve was here, and I knocked a whole shit ton of pollen off of it. But let's see how much actually falls off of it. Again, not very much. Most of it's already fallen. The goldfish will come up and gobble that away. I did it the other day, and it was just like it was like somebody threw a handful of flour on the top of the tank. So those are peace lilies. Again, those aren't flowers technically; they're bracts, but I call them flowers. And I've got another one. I used to have another one in there somewhere, and I don't know what happened to it. This is not a peace lily; it's similar, but it's a different plant. But again, the peace lilies, you can buy them anywhere. As long as the roots are in well oxygenated water, they do just fine. You can even grow them in like a bare root. Have you ever seen like the vase that's just got water in the bottom and then the roots just grow in and it's just bare roots in there? You could do that even with the peace lily. they also do really well in drought conditions. Peace lilies are like indestructible houseplants. Anybody that can't keep a peace lily, I don't know what to tell you. If you can't keep a peace lily, don't try to grow anything. This is my nicotine. This is my new device. I actually got a little sub-ohm device for my hitting on my nicotine. This thing packs a fucking wallop compared to those little cartridges I was using. So my 55 milligram nicotine is now suddenly a whole lot of nicotine when I puff off of this. And I called the store today. I was wondering if they had like a nicotine that was no flavor. I know they have stuff that's got flavor without nicotine. I wanted the nicotine, but just in a flavorless stuff. This stuff is so fucking sweet. It's disgustingly sweet to me. Almost just gross to me trying to puff on this. All of my flavor, the cotton candy is just, I can't even do the cotton candy. That's like way too sweet. Through my little device, my little cartridges, it wasn't flavorful like that. How many gallons total? Does somebody want to do a running tally? Because I'm not going to try to do the math. And I don't know off the top of my head. So we'll do all the tanks I've got in the house. So if you want to write these down as we go and add it all up later, get ready to start adding. We'll start with upstairs to get that out of the way. I've got a 20-gallon in my wife's room. Got another 20-gallon long in my office, but it's another 20 gallons. I got 10 gallons in the bathroom in there, my little shrimp tank. And then in here, we've got 40 gallons, 29 gallons, 55, 55, 40, 125, 5, 40, 125, 20, 10, and 200. We'll just call it 200 for the pond. So you total all that up and you tell me how many gallons I have. It's probably close to 1,000. I don't know. It's a lot. Hey, Michael, how are you this evening? You know what? I've thought about trying to make these lights go slower. And while I've got you here, let's see if we can do it. Let me, oh, God damn it. I knew I was not going to be able to find it when I wanted it. It's one of those things that it's a fan speed controller. And I remember that I've got an extra one and I put it in one of those places thinking, oh, I'll just put it right here. If I ever need it, I'll be able to find it. And I've been looking for it for a while and I just cannot find it because of course I can't. Worst case scenario, I've got a fan speed controller on the fan in here and I can steal it for the time being just to do an experiment and see if we can get this to work. Because I've wanted to do this before and I'm glad you brought that up. I too think that the disco ball rotates too quickly. And if I can find this fucking fan speed controller, let me check in my grow room. That's probably a good place to keep something like that. And of course it's not. Wow, I'm really fucking on some mushrooms, aren't I? Damn. Yeah, let me just steal the damn fan speed controller off of the one in here. I don't feel like looking for it anymore. I know I've got one somewhere. But tonight, we're just going to go ahead and use this one. All right, so if you don't know what a fan speed controller is, it's actually a modulator. And it's just got a little dial in the front. You plug this in, and then you plug your fan into this. And then you can just dial it up or down. Sort of like a dimmer switch, but not really. And it's not really meant to be used on lights as a dimmer switch. But if you, let me see, I got to unplug two things to do this. If you hook it into mechanical devices like fans or a rotating disco ball, it's entirely possible. Now I got to get a damn adapter because it's got a 3-prong plug on it. So hang on a minute. I do know where those are. All right, is my microphone still attached? Because I just got it caught on something walking past. All right, that's not one. That's not one. I thought I had some adapters right here. God damn it. Why can I never find this shit when I want it? Oh, I know why. ADHD. I have a little stack of those adapters somewhere. I don't know if this is going to actually happen now that I'm looking. Let me see if I got an adapter where I plugged it in the first place. I do, sort of. I can use this one. If I can get it unplugged. There we go. All right. We have adapter. We have plug. And now, in theory, I can speed that up or slow it down. So that's full speed. And that's all the way low speed, and that's off. So even at off, it isn't working right. So that's just on at full speed. And then that's all the way down to low speed. Well, we tried. It was an interesting experiment. I really wanted to see if that would slow it down or not, but it doesn't. It's not doing shit to it. So, oh well. It's probably got a little motor in there that as long as the motor is energized, it spins at a preset speed. So even if I modulate the energy, it might make the light a little dimmer. Even then, it's just LEDs. And so, I mean, how much can I really reduce the amount of juice going through there? So, oh well. Like I said, we tried. Give me half a second to get this put back together. Because this is my ventilation for the basement. And I need it. All right, there we go. Now, I need to go upstairs and hit the switch again to turn it on. Hopefully it'll work. It's got a remote control plug. And I keep the switch up here at the top of the steps so I don't have to come all the way down the basement just to turn the fan on. But I unplugged it, and so I don't know if I have to reset it or not. Oh, no, the fan's working, so we got it perfect now. I just got to turn it down. And I'm good. I'm on my way back. All right, that was a fun little adventure. That was out cruising. All right. Ah, glad to hear it, Michael. Oh, you're asking me about the plant that was in the discus tank. Arknight has red root floaters, which are very similar to duckweed, but is larger, and then, of course, has the red roots. So if you're asking me about this large plant, that one is a Nubius. All of this is crypt. This is Java fern. This is also Java fern. And then all the way down at the end, we got a bunch of red tiger lotus. So this is all crypt. I think it's Wendetti or however, whatever. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but I think that that's the Wendetti stuff. It's the red crypt. And then, of course, like I said, that's a big Nubius right here. So hopefully that answered your question properly. I do that quite a lot. Somebody asks me something, I misunderstand the question, and then I give them a fucking, 20-minute answer about something they weren't even actually asking me about. That's not unusual at all. All right. You guys aren't very lively tonight, are you? I'm doing my best. I'm having a good time. Having a fucking great time, actually. So I guess if there's nothing else, if you guys are done, I'll just keep on enjoying my evening. But if you guys want to hang out, I'm here. Why doesn't ice cream have bones? Zini, I'm going to get Zini to do mushrooms one day. Everybody keeps trying to get Zini to come to America, which I always try to discourage him from doing. But if he ever does come here, I'm going to find his ass and give him some mushrooms. Well, first I'm going to give him some weed, break him in a little bit. And then once I've broken him in a little bit, then I'll give him some mushrooms. All right. If there's anybody here that hasn't seen the pond, I can let you all look at the pond for a little bit. All right, Michael, I'm glad I was able to help. I thought when you said the plant that was next to me, I thought you meant while I was standing there. I didn't realize you meant before when I was sitting at the tank. So this is the best part of it, and I can spend, especially when I'm on mushrooms, I can spend a while just looking at the, not even looking at the fish, but just looking at the actual intake. There's a lot going on there. So I actually cleaned it out tonight. The pump, if you can hear, I don't know if you can hear it or not, it makes a rattling noise, and it always fucks with me because it rattles here, but when I'm standing here, where I hear it is reflecting off of this tank. And so it sounds like this tank is making noise, and I'm always checking the filter. And, eventually I finally figured out it's coming from this pump. And I don't know why it's rattling. I don't know if the pump just needs to be pulled out of there and cleaned or something, but I cleaned all the crud out of it this evening, and it is flowing at pretty much full force right now. It's a good amount of water flowing out of there. But I've been slowly watching the moss grow everything. This is actually a mixture between terrestrial moss I got out of my yard, which I think is what this is. Or maybe not. I don't know. No, I don't think so. This is all Java moss. If you've ever seen Java moss grow out of the tank, it does that. It grows in sheets and just climbs over everything. That's like a little fish planter. And I'm not worried about tearing that moss off of there. That'll be growing back onto it in no time at all. We got my little matching set of deer jawbones. And then over here, this is all Java moss too. And this might be terrestrial moss that actually was on the log when it came in. It might be the Java moss that's just growing over top of it. I know that's Java moss that's gotten on top of this piece of wood and growing there. Whew, hell yeah, those mushrooms are on me. I just stood up and looked around the room for a minute. It gets really fucking overwhelming. In fact, I'm going to turn some of the fish lights out and start lowering my visual input a little. We'll reduce it to some pond and disco balls as we start getting out of here. Hey, Robert. Oh, thank you, Michael. And I agree 100%. That white one with the, I can't remember what they call them, angel fins or whatever they are, the really long flowing fins, that one's getting huge. I've probably still got a solid year before I really need to worry about getting them out of this tank, but they are eventually going to, it's only a 200-gallon tank. You know how big koi you get eventually. And these are growing fast. So it's going to be interesting to see what I can do with them. Well, I know another thing we can do that's awesome to look at. I got a floodlight up here that I use. I turn this on when I'm lighting the room up in the morning. I turn it on, shining at the ceiling, and it just like lights the room up, and then that kind of gives the fish the heads up. But I can also point it at that tank down there, and let's go look at some colors on those fish with the spotlight shining on them. The silver dollars are crazy looking, and if we're fortunate, we'll get a look at my pearl cichlid, because when that's got the light shining on it, it is amazing. I don't even know where he's hiding right now. They're already sketchy enough, and then when I shine this bright light on them and walk right up to them, you can see the effect it has on them. they're all going to go into hiding. But hopefully we got a little bit of a glimpse at them before they disappeared. And I think my big cichlid is down at the other end of the tank. I can see the jewel cichlid down there. I don't know where the pearl cichlid is. Oh, well, I guess he's not going to make an appearance. Here, let me try doing it like this. I'll put the camera down there, and then I'll walk away and see if they don't come back out and sit in front of the camera. You give them a minute or two, and they'll probably be out in front of that camera. I mean, yeah, out in front of the camera. I'm getting whirly gigs. Is anybody else getting a whirly gig? Oh, if you look in the far right of your screen, kind of behind the wood, you can see that pearl cichlid hiding back there. I'm busy. I'm looking at my monitor watching just like you guys are watching. I forgot I'm the one that's supposed to be hosting. See, I'm telling you, none of you guys really want to see me like really on mushrooms. This is manageable, but I'm on the cusp of manageable as far as being able to remember I'm, filming and talking to people and all that kind of stuff. I started with a gram before the live stream started, and I was doing all right with that. And then I drank another half gram that I'm going to enjoy for the rest of the night, but that other additional half gram is already on me. And so I'm now on 1.5 grams, which is way over my limit for what I ever said I would do on a live stream. But here we are. I'm trying to get this damn cichlid on camera, because when he gets in the light and turns just the right way, he is fucking stunning. I'm try throwing a couple little algae wafer crumbles in there and see if that brings people out. I'm not going to feed the tank. I'm just going to put enough in there that they think I'm feeding them. All right, if that doesn't do it, then we're going to give up. You can see him lurking down there in the bushes. And even there, you can kind of see, a little bit of how shiny he is. All right. Just checking my messages here. Waiting for somebody to ask me something. All right, I'm going to have some more iced tea, and then we're going to call it a night, I think. I'm definitely seeing trails. I was talking to Steve the other day. This isn't for public consumption, but I was talking to Steve the other day, and I came up with a new term that I will share with you later, Zini. I think you're going to like it. It's a fucking good one. In fact, I can just send it to you now. And we'll see what your reaction is. Again, this isn't for public consumption. I'm sorry to say shit like I'm teasing you. I'm not going to tell you what I'm actually talking about, but trust me. It's not appropriate. All right, I just sent you a message there, Zini. Boy, that was hard to do. Those letters are small. Yeah, I told you you'd like it. All right, we're going to call it good on looking at this tank. I don't know whether you ever got to see that cichlid in full display or not, but there'll be other times. All right, let's get the camera back over here. You guys get to see me with my mushroom glow, my shit-eating smirk and smile on my face. I do enjoy mushrooms a lot. And remember, I'm not doing the mushrooms like I'm tripping my ass off. I'm not seeing things bend and move, and I'm not staring at my hand and all that kind of stuff. Just just right on the cusp of that, and it's a nice, fun, happy place to be, but still very, very manageable. I've achieved the next level. I'm fucking awesome. I'm a legend, actually. You guys just don't realize that. I know it, and Zini knows it, but you all don't know it. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to wind it down. If we got nobody else asking, nobody wants to chat about anything, I'll wrap it up. But if you want to hang out, I can still hang out. That's up to you guys. So, final call. Wow, I just made the mistake of looking at the lights on the wall and I almost fell over backwards. I suddenly felt dizzy. Let's try turning some lights out here and reducing some of the brightness. See what those disco balls look like with the fish lights. Actually, let me make sure I got all my shit out of here before I darken the room, before I outen the lights. All right. I think that might be worse. Iceman coming in the last minute. How do you remove a whole ham? Pull it out. I don't have any solid plans for the weekend. I think me and the missus tomorrow have some errands and shit to run, typical Saturday. I don't know what's going on Sunday. I haven't even looked at the weather. I know it's chilly. And I don't know, maybe I'll try to get out and do some hiking or something on Sunday or whatever, get out in the woods a little bit. But otherwise, leaf blowing. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you for plans this weekend. And for those of you that missed it, I did an epic ninja disappear. I'm not going to do it again. Once was legend. Oh, I will tell you something else that's inappropriate but funny because it's not actually inappropriate. It just sounds completely inappropriate. I was watching Doctor Who last night, and I've heard this before, and I laugh at it every time I hear it. But this time I was like, it just went into my brain different last night. And I remembered it this time. It was a Doctor Who where he was trapped in a tunnel, and the bad guys were going to kill him through fumigating the tunnel. And so there was this big vent, and all the the fake smoke was coming in that was supposed to be the gas that was going to kill him or whatever. And he was trying to figure out how to reverse the flow to get it to blow out. And he said, that which blows can be, whatever blows can be sucked. Fucking yes. That is the best Doctor Who quote ever. Whatever blows can be sucked. That's fucking awesome. Chicken nuggets. I have not had one single bite of solid food all day today. I've had several protein shakes, and that's it. I've not had a single bite of solid food all day today. Oh, nice. Chili. Yeah, that is probably the best Doctor Who quote of all time. He has a lot of good ones, but I think that's got to top the list. Were you in the other room just listening, Ark? You had to come back to comment on that. That's awesome. See, you guys should watch Doctor Who. You don't know what kind of quality entertainment you're actually missing. So, all right. I'm getting out of here. I really mean it this time. I definitely got to put this down. This thing I can puff on until it burns out. This fucking whoops my ass. This is nicotine, and it's really strong. Makes me dizzy as fuck when I puff on that. Whew, man, every time I walk into a new environment for a little moment here, it really fucking reinforces how much those mushrooms are on me. Hey, Bob found it. There you go, Bob. Good job. That is the most awesome emoji ever. Time is just an excuse to leave. I got nothing to talk about. I mean, I can stand here and just say dumb shit. If you guys want me to talk about something, again, it's you. This is the part where you have to cooperate. I can't. I've run out of stuff. I need your assistance here. Again, I can't burn snow. And I will say that I had to delete one of my current emojis to make that an emoji. I think I put two of them up there. I think I put one that's just my face that doesn't have the writing on the hat. So you can put whatever you want in for that look, because that look is just awesome. But I'm not the more members you have, the more badges and stuff like that you're able to open up. And I'm at my limit of emojis. And so in order to put that emoji up, I had to get rid of one of my other emojis. I need 2 more members, and that will unlock more emojis. So if I get 2 more members, I can create some more emojis. I don't know how many more will open up for me. 1, 2, 5. I have no idea. But I'm 2 members short right now of unlocking more emojis. If that matters to anybody, if you guys want to join up, it's $2.99 a month. You get access to a Wednesday members only live stream. I do another one of these that's private. And then you get access to my Discord and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, everybody, I got to get out of this fucking spinning darkness disco ball or whatever. My fucking brain melts out of my ears. It's really starting to fucking tweak my nerves there. God damn. I'm going to feel like I'm spinning for the next 20 minutes. It's like after I get off my, do like 40 minutes on my Bowflex, which I haven't been on in fucking months. 40 minutes now would kill me. But spend 40 minutes on that, and I get off it, and for the next like half an hour, my legs just feel like they're moving, even though I'm sitting still. It's weird. And so I think this disco ball is going to have a very similar effect on my brain. I'm going to leave the room, and my brain's going to be spinning. Oh, I think I'd know if the cops showed up. So, all right, everybody, we made it till 20 after, although it feels like 2 in the morning already. So I am going to wrap it up, say goodnight. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I had a good time. Zini, if you want to chat, I'll be around. So hit me up. Otherwise, everybody else, I will be back on Sunday night. Same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we'll do it again. So hopefully I'll still have some mushrooms left by then, and we can have another fun night. So good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all on Sunday. So long, and thanks for all the fish.